The San Diego County Sheriff oversees jails and courts. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says there are only two candidates on the ballot, the Republican incumbent and the Democrat trying to unseat him.
We're really not about capturing headlines, we're about capturing criminals.
This is from a campaign video for Sheriff Bill Gore, a Republican and the county's two-term incumbent.
I look back on my 8 years as sheriff and I believe we're making a difference in this county. We hire the best people, we give them the best training, they're the best equipped, and all that's really important. But unless the community you're serving trusts you, you really don't have anything.
The issue of trust between law enforcement and civilians is present in this sheriff's race, just like it is across the country. In his campaign video, Gore says things are good.
What I value the most is that we've earned the trust of the people in this community, that trust in my department and me in particular. I feel like I'm the right person for this job, and I hope that the people of San Diego County will instill their trust in me for one more term.
Across this county, as I've been campaigning, I've heard over and over and over again about mistrust, especially from our communities of color.
Dave Myers is Gore's only challenger in this race. Myers is a Democrat. He started as a deputy in the sheriff's department, and over the past 33 years has worked his way up to the commander level. He says he's running to replace his boss to restore trust.
What I'm going to bring to the table within the sheriff's department is trust and accountability within one of the largest local law enforcement agencies. Reduce crimes. I'm going to test rape kits. I'm going to fully implement body-worn cameras within the San Diego Sheriff's Department.
I meet Myers downtown, across the street from a county jail. Myers says part of why he's running is to reduce inmate suicides, something called out as a major problem by a nonprofit last month and a county grand jury report last year.
When the sheriff was told by the grand jury, you have the highest rate of inmate suicides of any county jail system in the state of California, that information was dug up by local reporters. That information was published. He knew about it year after year after year, but in the end, what he decided to do, instead of fix the problem, be transparent about fixes in the county jail system, he attacked the reporter.
Gore did not respond to multiple interview requests in time to be included in this story, but he did do an interview with the San Diego Union-Tribune editorial board, which agreed to let KPBS use the audio. On the issue of trust, the board asked him whether all the high-profile police shootings of unarmed black men called for the sheriff's department to reflect on or review its own policies. Here's Gore's response.
It's something we constantly look at. I mean, we've had the shootings in Missouri. This is a continuation. It's something we look at. Are we doing the proper training? What we call it tactical communication, de-escalation. We do that. Obviously, it starts in our regional academies. It's part of our continual professional training for our deputies.
One pretty fundamental difference between Gore and Myers is their approach to the office of sheriff itself. Last year, the County Board of Supervisors voted to ban all sales of marijuana, medical and recreational, in the unincorporated county. Gore stayed out of that policy debate. Now his department is struggling to keep up with all the illegal marijuana dispensaries cropping up. Myers says the sheriff should be part of the discussion around cannabis policy.
Yeah, so I see my role as the elected sheriff to advise the policymakers on the facts. I don't think the policymakers have received the facts. I don't think they've received an honest evaluation of what it truly means for law enforcement to sit at the table with the industry and create safe access. To me, and based on my experience of 33 years in law enforcement, that is how we create less crime.
Gore is favored to win re-election. He's ahead in fundraising, and June elections tend to favor incumbents. The question is whether Myers can ride the expected blue wave of Democratic turnout to unseat his boss. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
Our media partner, iNewsSource, is following the money this election season. Here with the latest cash reports for the sheriff's and district attorney races is iNewsSource reporter Jill Castellano.
Interim District Attorney Summer Stephan, who was appointed by the former DA, has been outraising and outspending her competitor. Stephan has raised $124,000 since January. Genevieve Jones-Wright, a deputy public defender with the county, has raised $95,000 in the same time frame. And both of them have gotten big checks from political parties. Stephan received $10,000 from the county's Republican Party, and Jones-Wright received $34,000 from the county's Democratic Party. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, the San Diego County Sheriff's race is neck and neck financially. Incumbent Sheriff Bill Gore has raised $66,000 since January, while challenger Dave Myers has raised $61,000. Gore's donations include a $10,000 check from the county's Republican Party, and Myers received $11,000 from the county's Democratic Party. But Gore is still outspending Myers. He has spent more than double what Myers has since January, including $14,000 on television ads. To learn more about the money behind this year's county elections, go to data.inewssource.org. For KPBS, I'm iNewsSource reporter Jill Castellano.
iNewsSource is an independently funded nonprofit partner of KPBS. As the June primary nears, KPBS News will continue to reach out to candidates. You can see more of our election coverage at kpbs.org. San Diego County has made settlement offers to all 15 women who accuse a sheriff's deputy of sexual assault. Only 2 have accepted the offer. The details of the settlements are being reported in the San Diego Union Tribune. The 2 settlements total more than $400,000. Richard Fisher is out on bail after being charged with 14 criminal counts related to the allegations. He has pleaded not guilty. The settlements are related to civil lawsuits filed by the women. The Trump administration is sending more resources to the border to deal with the immigration cases, including the caravan of migrants waiting at the San Ysidro port of entry. Earlier today, Attorney General Jeff Sessions spoke about the added focus.
Will be about a 50% increase in the number of immigration judges who will be handling the asylum claims. We are not going to let this country be overwhelmed. People are not going to caravan or otherwise stampede our border. We need legality and integrity in the system. People should wait their turn, ask to apply lawfully before they enter our country. So we're sending a message worldwide: don't come illegally.
A total of 18 immigration judges will be brought in, along with 35 assistant U.S. attorneys. More than 100 members of a Central American caravan are waiting in Tijuana, seeking entry into the U.S. 28 have been admitted to begin the asylum process. The Justice Department says 11 members of the caravan are facing charges for illegal entry. California's population is approaching a big milestone. The State Department of Finance says 309,000 people moved to California last year. That brings the total population just under 40 million. Of the 482 California cities, 421 saw an increase in population. Only 57 saw a decrease. California is expected to reach 40 million people within a few months.
We think that it's probably going to happen sometime before the end of the summer, so maybe August, September. It's always a little bit unclear when that actually happens, but we are getting pretty close.
Of the state's 10 largest cities, Sacramento had the largest population growth and now has more than 500,000 residents. An administrative law judge is rejecting SDG&E's plan to build a 47-mile natural gas pipeline from Rainbow to Miramar. The utility was asking to build the 36-inch line to replace a 16-inch pipeline that runs along the Interstate 15 corridor. Ratepayers would shoulder the $639 million price tag. The judge's decision isn't the final word on the project. That will come from the California Public Utilities Commission sometime this summer.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, President Trump's lead lawyer in the Russia investigation is stepping down. Coming up at 7, right after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Cloudy, wet weather stuck around for another day. This is what it looked like in Oceanside this morning, where people were fishing on the pier. The weather will soon dry out and sunshine is set to return. Julia Wyden has details in tonight's forecast.
Hey, hope you're having a great Wednesday evening so far. We did have some wet weather around today, but the chance for showers is coming to a close. Overnight, we'll see that rain wrapping up and we'll be in a warming and drying trend with lots of sun over the next few days. Satellite and radar shows those passing showers that have moved through the area. As we widen out the view for you, you can see that off to our east, there's more abundant moisture in that direction. Right around the Four Corners, there's an upper level low pressure system, and that's driving all of that rain and even some high elevation snow that we're seeing. Around here, it's not a whole lot, but any rain that we've had has been beneficial. We do need to have rain to help alleviate the drought situation. Tonight, though, that area of low pressure lifts off to the north and east and takes the wet weather with it. Will be cloudy and in the mid-50s. As we take a look around the area, you'll see lows tonight dropping to the low 50s in Chula Vista, down to 53, 50 in Oceanside. Let's take a look at tomorrow's forecast. On the map, again, you can see that there will still be some showers over parts of northeastern Nevada into Utah, but Southern California will be staying dry and temperatures will be warming up as well. Highs will make it up into the upper 60s in San Diego. We'll be at 68 in Oceanside, 67 in Chula Vista. Okay, let's talk about air quality. We'll have high pressure building in, and that is actually going to reduce our air quality over the next few days. Looks good, though, for your Thursday. As we take you on into Friday, you'll see a transition into yellow here, and that means that the air quality will be declining. Let's talk about your weekend, Saturday in the afternoon. Again, coastal areas need to be especially cautious, especially those who are particularly susceptible to any health-related issues due to poor air quality. We'll see a slight improvement for Sunday. 5-day outlook has that warming trend. Saturday and Sunday will be in the 70s at the coast. Let's take you farther inland. We'll make it up to the upper 80s on Saturday. And as we look at your extended forecast for the mountain region, temperatures here will be in the mid-70s with sunshine over the weekend. Your forecast in the deserts getting up into the triple digits. Back to you, Ebony.
The data firm at the center of the Facebook privacy scandal is shutting down. Cambridge Analytica announced today that the controversy caused its customer base to vanish. In a statement, the company said it was vilified for actions it says are both legal and widely accepted in the online advertising field. The company is accused of obtaining Facebook user data in an unauthorized way when it was working with the Trump campaign. California's largest city is taking steps to regulate short-term rentals through services like Airbnb. Today, the city council approved a plan that would limit homeowners and landlords to 120 rental days per year. The city would allow certain exceptions to that limit. LA officials say more than 500,000 short-term rentals were booked last year. A company described as the Airbnb of cars is working with the state assembly to regulate itself. Turo is a peer-to-peer car sharing service. It's the sponsor of a bill that would require it to follow the same rules as major car rental companies, specifically when it comes to recalls.
When we have the advent of newer technologies, it's important that we have the framework so that consumers, when they're using such technologies and or apps, that they also can expect the same type of regulations to protect themselves.
The bill was approved by an assembly committee this week. If it becomes law, Turo and similar companies would be able to rent out vehicles would not be able to rent out vehicles with unrepaired recall. NASA's next mission to Mars will take off from Southern California this weekend. A robot named InSight will look for clues that might help scientists learn more about the planet's origin. AP reporter Kathy Young has the story.
NASA is sending a robotic geologist that will dig deeper than ever into Mars to help scientists learn about the early history of the red planet. Many previous missions looked at the planet's surface.
InSight mission is a mission to go and probe the deep interior of Mars in order to better understand the very early formation processes of the Earth and all the rocky planets.
The Mars InSight lander will take about 6 months to reach the planet. It doesn't have wheels, so once it lands, it stays put.
So this is the robotic arm.
A thin probe will burrow down about 16 feet to measure the planet's temperature. Another experiment will measure the planet's wobbly rotation on its axis.
So this is the cover that goes on top of the seismometer.
A seismometer will study Marsquakes, similar to earthquakes, which may reveal clues on how the red planet was formed.
We'll be able to tell, what the composition of the mantle is. We'll be able to see how big the core is and what it's made out of.
The spacecraft will also be carrying small briefcase-sized satellites that will break free after liftoff. NASA will experiment to see whether they can be used to relay data back to Earth. All this collected information could give scientists a look at Earth's early days.
We want to understand what happened in those first few ticks of the clock. On the Earth, that evidence has been mostly erased by plate tectonics and by mantle convection.
InSight is scheduled to rocket away from Central California's Vandenberg Air Force Base this month. It will be NASA's first interplanetary mission launched from somewhere other than Cape Canaveral.
People in Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, and they tell me even down to San Diego, you should be able to have a good show for several minutes as long as there's no clouds in the sky.
InSight will spend about 2 years in its primary mission of looking at the heart of Mars. Kathy Young, Associated Press.
You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.